Greetings and salutations, folks. My name's Nick, and today I'd like to celebrate the channel hitting 100 subscribers. To those who have been with the channel since its inception, and to those who have joined along the way, thank you all for subscribing. Over the years, I've played all sorts of games. Long games, short games, good games, bad games, and all sorts in between. And I intend to keep doing that because that is what this channel is about. To be honest, it's also an outlet for me to kind of just talk about video games non-stop, but it's mostly so that I could play a wider variety of games. So today, to celebrate 100 subscribers, I'd like to go through my little library of games and take a closer look at 10 games that I've always meant to play through, but never have. First, there's Faxinadu for the Nintendo Entertainment System. On the cover of the cartridge, it says, "Daggers and wing boots, mantras and monsters await you." If you're not excited yet, oh my gosh. So Faxinadu is a game I actually owned back when I was a kid. To describe it quickly, it's basically like The Legend of Zelda Part 2, in that it is just that side-scrolling aspect of it. There really isn't an overworld to explore, but it has kind of like a massive set of 2D dungeons to kind of roam around. And I remember getting relatively far in the game, but I never actually finished it. And one day, I want to fix that. Though, from what I hear, the game does get a little bit on the tricky side. In that, like, there are specific situations where, like, if you walk into the next screen, there's a chance that a certain element of progression isn't going to happen unless you go back and forth between areas, and then things change because of that. So I would have to do a little bit of research in regards to how you actually finish the game before I worry about progressing through it. Also, more importantly, I don't have the means to record Nintendo cartridges at the moment. I have a Retron 5, but for some reason the sound is incredibly choppy now, and I don't know how to fix that. So it's on the list, but I realize it's going to be a while before I can even worry about it. Second is Demolition Man on the 3DO. As featured on Entertainment Tonight, Demolition Man for the 3DO system is already hailed as the most true-to-the-movie interactive video game experience ever. Wow. Already. Also, who the hell designed the text on the back? Because there is white text here, and then there's red text, like, overlaid in between, like, clearly. But anyway, yeah, Demolition Man is one of the greatest movies ever made, and I would like to play through the video game. There's also a Super Nintendo game, but the 3DO version is a little bit more interesting because it's like half shoot 'em up, half fighting game, and it also features new footage. Like, Stallone actually filmed, and Snipes filmed footage just for this game. features more genres of gameplay than our competitors have. 4 different types of gameplay, including 3D first-person POV tunnel hunts, shooting galleries, car chases, and hand-to-hand combat. Oof. Because that's always worked for other games, is just to have as many genres as you can. If you don't like the level you're playing now, maybe you'll like the next one. Third, Silent Hill 1 on the PlayStation 1. Believe it or not, I've never actually beaten the first Silent Hill game. I've only actually finished 3 of the Silent Hills. I've played through Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, Homecoming, and I forget the name of the Vita title. I think it was Book of Memories. I played through. But Silent Hill 1, I played through most of it up until the carnival, which I think is actually like a level or 2 before the end. So one of these days, I really would like to actually finish the whole game instead of just being like, oh, I played through most of it. Plus, it would be nice to go back to the beginning, back when there were the technical constraints on the game, as opposed to creating that fog in order to create that atmosphere. Like, that atmosphere had to be there because the PS1 could not render past that fog. Fourth one is Alpha Protocol on the Xbox 360. I don't remember Alpha Protocol actually reviewing very well. It's a stealth RPG hybrid from Obsidian Entertainment. And it's a game that I've always meant to play, simply because at the time I was more into, what is that game franchise that Ubisoft has completely forgotten about? Splinter Cell. And the idea of Splinter Cell with this kind of RPG system is interesting. And I do have a place in my heart for the above-average mediocre title. I'm hoping Alpha Protocol is a little bit better than that. But it does feel like an interesting game, especially with its multiple choices, and also how it kind of delves out abilities as you upgrade towards that stealth action. Though I hear the main character is just a huge dork. So that makes him relatable, I guess. Fifth is Shadowrun on the Genesis. Like a lot of Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis games, Shadowrun is different on both systems. Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo actually looks a lot more interesting from a story perspective and just a gameplay perspective, but I don't have it. And I do have Shadowrun for the Genesis. On the Genesis version of it is much more pixelated, much more of a grind, but it does have the way that Genesis creates sound, like the synthetic nature of its sound chip makes Shadowrun on the Genesis feel more cyberpunk than Shadowrun on the Super Nintendo, which just kind of feels like you're exploring urban squalor. Whereas this feels like you're just in extremely dirty back alleys. But like I said, it is a bit of a grind. Like, that beginning of the game has always kind of been painful to get through. So I've only kind of gone past the beginning of the game once to see what was past it. And there's some interesting stuff past that. I would have to look up a walkthrough to see exactly what path you're supposed to go, because sometimes it does feel like it can be unclear with its almost like not procedurally generated missions, but it does come up with kind of like random missions for you to go on. So trying to figure out where are the random missions versus where is the plot would be something I'd want to look at before I start, but it definitely is a interesting game. 6th is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Okay, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective for the Sega CD is not a good game. It is garbage. You could even argue that it's not even a game. It's just a series of interactive movies and a menu system. But it has a notorious place in my heart due to myself and a friend of mine constantly making fun of it. Maybe me more making fun of it than him, but Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective has always been the butt of many jokes. This copy also came with Sega Classics Arcade Collection, which has Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, Columns, and Golden Axe on the Sega CD, all of which are far better than this, but I still want to one day see, like, how do you even play Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective? How do you win? How? 7th is Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo. This is actually another Silent Hill 1 scenario, in that I've actually played this game past the point in which Kafka destroys the world, which I believe is right before the end, and I stopped for some reason. I could not tell you why. So, but that essentially means I'm gonna have to start from the beginning, and this is a long game. But then again, I played like Assassin's Creed Odyssey for like 80 hours on this channel, so don't have too much of an excuse. So one day, Final Fantasy VI will be finally done with. 8th is Batman, the Brave and the Bold for the Nintendo Wii. Now, I've never actually watched the Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon, so there's no real need to play because of that. But this is a game made by Way Forward. I generally enjoy Way Forward stuff. I would not say that they're perfect. There's definitely a few games that I didn't really care for as much as others. Double Dragon Neon will forever be in my heart. But this is a game that I've always meant to play because it looks really good. The actual action in it looks like it works pretty well. And you can control Batmite for some reason by linking it with the Nintendo DS version. I probably won't be doing that. So Batmite dreams will have to wait for another day. 9th is Quest 64 on the Nintendo 64. This was a game that was really interesting at the time, despite the fact that you can see the mechanics in other games like the Elder Scrolls series, where it's a role-playing game where you gain in power by doing. You become stronger by attacking more. Your magic becomes stronger by using it more. You gain more defense by getting hit more. It's a little bit odd when you really think about it. I believe I rented this game from Blockbuster. I don't know if I owned the game or if I just rented the game. And I got up to a point. But this was also one of those games where, like, I have fond memories of a quest giver in the game telling me to go and collect a specific gem or something. And I collected the gem, I went back to them, and they're like, keep like, hey, good luck on getting that gem. They were still telling me the same. I just wanted to say good luck, and we're all counting on you. Over again, despite the fact that I've already succeeded. But for old time's sake, I would like to see this through to the end. 10th is Die Hard Vendetta on the Nintendo GameCube. America's unluckiest cop is having another very bad day. John McClane is back. This time in an all-out battle to save his daughter. Like Sherlock Holmes, this is not a very good game. This is not a good game at all. But at the very least, you can look at it and say that it is a game in that it has gameplay elements where you shoot bad guys. There's also auto-targeting and auto-jump. It advertises a hero mode on the back, but it's just like slow motion combined with the same classical music that plays in the movie Die Hard when they're opening the vault. But this is also another game that I've always wanted to play through because Die Hard is amazing. And like there are the other Die Hard games, like the Die Hard trilogy, that I could always add to the list as well. But I feel as though this is like that special brand of Die Hard that has always kind of been there on the periphery, more so than the trilogy was, for myself. And I've already played through Die Hard Arcade on the channel, so that's already out of the way. As for what happens next, for now, just more games. There's a technological hurdle at the moment involving the internet. The only available internet in my area is 6 megabit per second download, 1 upload, which means I can only upload generally 1 video per night, but in theory that might get itself sorted out this summer. In the meantime, got any suggestions for something to play next? Leave them down in the comments below. They don't have to be anything that I've mentioned so far. These are just games that I personally would find interesting to play. But if you've got any ideas, like I recently played through A Ghost of the Tale on the channel. I've never heard of A Ghost of the Tale before that. I played through Unpacking before that, and that was a really interesting experience. So yeah, if you have any games you think are neat, interesting, that I probably should take a look at, why not let me know? In the meantime, don't forget to like, and if you haven't subscribed, now's not a bad time. Thank you all for sticking around, and have yourselves